welcome to episode 3 of Higher Education, a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons Strixhaven Universe original campaign with a bunch of queers.
I mean, yeah, it's accurate.
It's accurate.
Without further ado, let's meet one of those queers. C, why don't you introduce yourself and tell people who you're playing?
I would just be so happy to do that. Hello, this is episode 3, and I'm C. Episode 3 for C. You can use they, them pronouns for me because those are what my pronouns are. And you can find me on the internet at PieSharpArt, making very trans, very gay art. Tonight, I am playing your beloved little freak of the hour, Ecstasy, who also uses they, them pronouns, who is a Dragonborn Tiefling Rogue Ranger. That's 4 things instead of 3, but I tried my best. And I will pass it over to Humna.
Yes. Hello. I was not prepared. Hello, everybody. My name is Humna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, and other places possibly at that same @. I don't know. We're figuring it out. Today, I will be playing Jaysha, who uses they, Ray pronouns, and Jaysha is an Earth Genasi sorcerer blood hunter. And I will pass it over to, I almost said your character name, Drac.
Hi, I'm Draconics, or Drac for short. I use he, they pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Draconics, DRAKONIQES. And today I'm playing Barugash, or Baru for short. They use she, he, they pronouns. And they also, I guess, pilot, control, take care of a construct named, or nicknamed Star. And they're a little weirdo, I guess, but in their own different way. I'm very excited for episode 3. We're going down a wormhole. That's a good idea. I'm gonna throw it over to 3. I'm gonna throw it over to Connie.
Hey everyone, I'm Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. Fun fact about my pronouns is one time I was on TikTok, I was scrolling, I saw someone's comment on like a TikTok I was tagged in being like, oh my god, I love Connie's takes. They, he, she always has such interesting things to say. And I was like, that's a really funny way to use my pronouns. That's I mean, you're not wrong, and I appreciate the effort. I am playing Mystagogue, Stag, Zua Graves, they, she, Goliath Barbarian tonight on Higher Education, and I'm wearing this shirt for her. This is my Beast of the East rugby shirt back from when I played, when I was a rugger.
A rugger? Is that what we call ourselves? Wait.
Yeah. Is that actually what rugby players are called?
I'm not in the UK, where I played.
I played for 2 semesters, and I never let anyone forget it. And I scored. I've never scored a try in my life, but I have tackled people. I tackled someone once at Beast.
Connie telling on themselves.
Shut it. Silence.
Connie, I never scored a try, Chung.
I'll be honest, no offense, but I think calling yourself ruggers gave that away before you even said that.
Listen. There should be. I can't. Well, can I say that? Well, I'm gonna say it. Which is there's the funny saying of like the better you are at bowling, the worse you are at eating pussy. I'm gonna apply that to rugby. So the
is
worse
that
you
a
are
saying?
at rugby,
No, that can't be. No, that can't be a saying. That can't be real. You're making that shit up.
Like
this is the energy.
Connie, what are you saying? You're making that shit up. Also, I feel like rugby players do get pussy. I don't know.
I've played rugby in my life. Hit me up.
Speaking of which, Liv, take it away.
Okay, Connie, I just want you to know that you're seen because in high school, I was a cheerleader for like summer break. So
Oh no.
so it's like
Oh no. Hey, cut your story
right around
off.
Halloween. So I was only officially a cheerleader for a few months before I was bullied off the squad. But I never let anybody fucking forget it that I was a cheerleader. And I'm right for that. And that's that. Anyway, hi.
I'm right for that.
I am Liv. I use the she, they pronouns. You can find me on the internet at Live in a Day. I will be playing Ciro, who uses they, them pronouns and is our fairy warlock of the group. And I'm very excited to be here. A little hyper, but I'm good. I'm really excited.
The energy today is immaculate. And I'm Vanna. I've never played rugby, but one time I was in a fight club.
Hold on,
doesn't surprise
hello?
me.
Me too,
That
Anna.
doesn't surprise me.
You can't
at all.
talk about
I
it.
tend
Okay,
to be in the fact
okay.
as well.
See, I never played rugby, but I played flag football all throughout middle school and high school.
I
So I
played
did
rugby
that.
for like 6 years of my life. So
Hey,
Dragging
yo!
all of our asses.
Hey,
I know Drake's work history is off the wall.
How good were you?
I was fully a jock in high school. Yeah,
yeah.
that's how I went to college.
She did track, right?
Did
I
it?
did.
Yeah.
I was
Track
I
star.
was a track star.
Everyone, C's
too.
femurs are longer than the Yellow River. they're
Hello? Hello?
Peculiar thing
What
to
are you saying?
It's so-
Femurs and Yellow River are so specific.
Honestly, I'm just trying
Yeah.
to get someone who will compare my femurs to a river as well. That's what I'm looking for.
Look
Let's
at that
go.
shit. It's longer than
Wait, can you stand on your chair? I would like to.
Don't, you're gonna get
no. You roll.
There we go.
Man, those are some long femurs.
Wow.
Longer than the
Confirmation that
Yellow
they are
River,
X,
apparently.
Yellow River who? God.
Oh my god. I feel like I've already lost control.
I'm sorry. It's completely my
Good
fault.
luck hurting
not
these
your
cats.
fault. It's not your fault. I think everybody's feeling a type of way today, and I'm not. And I am not the one to get in the way. So we're gonna embrace it. But yeah, I'm Van. I'm gonna be your GM, producer, all the stuff today. And I need to talk to you about a few things before we get started. First and foremost, I want to talk to you about our sponsors, exclamation point sponsors in the chat to get a sexy look at all of those. We are presented by Penny Dragon Games, and then this episode is sponsored by a host of amazing companies that are excited to support indie content and fresh stories and whatever is happening in today's episode.
That's a separate category.
The other thing I want to talk to you about is every episode we have a goal. If we hit that goal, it will unlock an extra bonus scene. Y'all have unlocked it the past 2 episodes. Thank you so much. And because of that, we'll have a bonus episode at the a bonus scene at the end of this episode. And we had a bonus scene at the end of last episode. You can check it out on the VOD. And you can check out info about our cast at any point at exclamation point cast in the chat, and go follow all their social medias because they're all up to some amazing things. And you can check out some of our content warnings here. This isn't a complete list as it grows as we create the content, but currently higher education may contain themes of fantasy, violence, and gore, trauma, psychological abuse, death, and bullying. So please take care of yourselves and step away if you need to. We absolutely want you to prioritize your health and comfort first and foremost. And then if you want to catch up on the past episodes, you can find written write-ups over on our wiki, which we use Obsidian Portal for that. And you can also now catch us in podcast form. I don't have a command for that because I didn't think about it. But if you follow us on Twitter, then you can check out the podcast. It should be on like everything except Google Podcasts, because Google Podcasts is just taking their time thinking about it. They're thinking, and honestly, they should. They should maybe listen to an episode first before they give us a full reign of their platform. But yeah, that's all I've got, I believe. So yeah, support us, support our goal, and check out our sponsors. And anything else, y'all, or we'll jump into it.
That's it.
All right, let's do it. We return to a ruined Aerojaunt Field. All 5 of you are leaning over a gaping hole in the center of it, peering down into the darkness and steeling yourselves to dive in to those depths. And there's a tremble in the ground, and almost like an aftershock that causes all of you to lose your balance in a very finite, insignificant way. But being in the position that you are, it is sort of a breath-stealing, heart-pounding half a second. And as the pounding of your hearts against your rib cages slows, you begin to enact your plan for your descension. What are y'all gonna do to get down in that hole?
You can see,
Stag.
ooh.
I was just gonna say, Stag has tied a rope to like a piece of broken rock by the lip of the hole, and is just gonna start rappelling her way down for as far down as the rope will take her, which is 50 feet.
Okay. What is everybody else doing?
You see,
Were X and Sierra? Go ahead, Drac. It's all you.
sorry. You see Baru kind of like scrambling up onto Star's back, and without any rope, they haven't taken any rope, any back for anything. They just walk to the edge and step off, and I cast levitate on me, on Star, and I'm just gonna slowly levitate myself down.
Okay.
And you just see a shimmering gold for a moment as you see the sigil appear, and then in Draconic say levitate, and then that just dissipates, and then we start just levitating downwards.
Just gonna. How long does that last for?
10 minutes, and I can move 30 feet every 6 seconds. So
Okay.
whatever.
Cool. And you're able to you're able to cast it on both of you?
I'm able to cast it on. I'm going to cast it on Star, and I'm just going to climb on Star's back.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Are you climbing like you're her backpack or you're her koala baby?
Backpack.
Okay, cool. So that's what Stag and Bar are doing. X, what were you thinking?
I think X takes out 2 daggers from just like the side pockets of their vest. And I'm going to kind of use it like reverse ice picks. Or like ice picks when you're climbing up an icy mountain, that they're just going to like shove the daggers into the ground and start climbing down that way.
We also got climbing equipment, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe we found some, yeah.
Okay.
Does X care? No.
Zero looks at everything that everybody has done, fully knowing that they took the time to go get climbing equipment for everybody else, despite the fact that they can fly. And they're just gonna look at these shenanigans and go, great. Jaysha, and just shove everything at Jaysha and just fly down. So
Thank you, Zero. For what it's worth, I don't have another way of getting down there, so I do actually appreciate this.
Zero's gonna hover over the hole, turn, look at Jaysha, but say very loudly, very pointedly, "Of course, Jaysha, I am so happy that I could get equipment that could assist those who are incapable of flying or propelling on their own safely. You know, it's the things I do for people."
I think Jaysha also raises rare voice as they kind of say, yeah, and I really appreciate all of the effort that you put into it, you know? Thank you, Zero. As they start to sort of like tie, similar to Stag, like tie the end onto a rock and start to rappel themselves down. As they are climbing down, I'm also going to cast light because I assume this hole is dark.
Dark hole, yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody has dark vision, so Jaysha's just going to cast light in case to help us see our way down.
When you do, Zero very, very pointedly again, "Wow, Jaysha, thank you for turning on a light and helping everyone see."
Yeah, thank you,
Oh,
Jaysha.
I could see.
Can you guys hurry up already? I'm like halfway down this hole.
Okay, what I need from everybody is a DC check of whatever ability you think is fitting for how you're getting down there.
Do I need to, since I'm just flying?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I have advantage because I'm using a tool? Because I'm using a rope.
No.
I'm not just like a bear rocking it. Okay, that's fine.
No.
It's a stretch.
Can I?
Or go ahead.
I'm just thinking intelligence because it's my spell casting modifier, and that's what I used to do is just cast this spell.
Sure.
I'm going to use dexterity because this is part of Ciro's physiology. So I think that's only...
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to use acrobatics.
I'm also going acrobatics.
I got a 19 for athletics.
All right. Yeah. You do not encounter a problem.
I got a 17 for acrobatics.
Oh. X also good.
I went with Arcana since everyone's using skills, and I got a 27.
Yeah, you're fine. You got, a 10? All right.
I got a 10.
And Jaysha got a 4. Hamna,
For
please?
athletics, in case that matters.
Oh, well, you tell me, Hamna. What goes wrong?
I think Jaysha is not a climber. This is not something that they've really done that often before. They have no need to. And so I don't think that they fully understand the appropriate way to tie off like the end of your equipment the way that Stag had. I think Ray watched Stag do it and just was kind of like, I could probably replicate that. And so they tried on their own to do it. And I don't think they did it appropriately. And the further down that Jaysha goes, the more that they're really just tugging on the top part of it until eventually it comes loose. And I think Jaysha starts to free fall.
Oh my God.
Down the hole.
I love that.
So you hear this just like, yelp from Jaysha as everything just falls apart. Liv, what goes wrong for Ciro?
I mean, I've been describing Ciro as like flying a lot lately, and they've been like racing and running around. And I do think that is like their primary way of maneuvering. Like, if you could fly, why wouldn't you? But I think like it's like going on a really long hike, right? Like your body does get tired after a while. And I think with everything that's been going on, Ciro hasn't realized like how physically exhausted they actually are. So I think that's kind of what happens. And it's just like, just the wings start slowing down and they're trying to keep it up, but I don't think it's working.
So
Yeah,
not
exactly.
like a absolute drop, but more of like an uncertainty to her movements and maybe a jerkiness, like falling and then catching herself. And
yeah, and they might actually like run into a wall at some point, just like trying to hold on. I don't know.
It's like a bird with an injured wing kind of situation.
Yes. Yes.
The three of you who made your checks, I think Baru got the highest. So Baru, you can catch this as you are very stable in your own movements. What if anything do you do to assist your comrades?
How many of us? Okay. Okay, yeah. I see this happen. I'm just like, oh no. And I'm gonna like let go, start, and free fall as well. So I'm close enough to Jaysha, and I'm gonna cast Feather Fall on all of us. Just as a precaution. And it just happens, it's not concentration, it lasts for a minute, and I can hit up to 5 people. So as I'm like kind of just free falling for like probably like a second or two, you see me say something in Draconic, and around my mouse, sigil appears, and then you see in Draconic Feather Fall, and then it splits off into 5 pieces and coats all of us, except for Star, because Star's still hit with levitate, so it's fine. But everyone else is covered in this golden shimmer and it dissipates, and they feel lighter than usual. And yeah, now if anyone falls or is currently falling, they will slow down to 60 feet per round, which is 60 feet per second, and they take no falling damage when they land.
Perfect. Now if everybody could give me a straight roll. D20.
Just like
I can't do that.
I'm not
actually.
straight.
Gay rolls only.
This is a queer game. You said it yourself, Anna.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean you can't do it?
Ruh-roh.
No one here.
I got a
knows.
6.
My turn.
So sorry, 18. Misread it.
I heard
4.
Liv's got an 18. Connie's got a 6. C's got a 4.
14.
I've got a 19.
Okay, yeah, I just think the 2 under 10. Something interferes with the spell, and it stops working on the two of you. What happens, or what does that look like?
Stag was still climbing. Didn't need the spell to get down. I think at this point she'd reached the bottom of the 50-foot rope, and is holding on to the rock, gross, slime-coated wall with one hand, and is using the other to basically like send a ripple up the rope. Because she's tied the knot in such a way that she's done this a ton of times. She grew up on a mountain, so she sends a ripple up the rope to basically like lasso it off of the top so she can keep the rope with her. And as like the rope starts coming down, she's like holding it like sort of turning it into like a circle, and then holding it as like a kind of like she's cowboying it. Like it comes, it ripples all the way down, and she like catches it, and it's formed sort of like a series of hoops, kind of like a Wonder Woman kind of lasso situation, that she drapes over her shoulder. And as she's like still like there clutching onto the rock when this golden feather lightweight feeling floods through her body. Baru, you know I don't need this, right? I'm fine by myself.
Yeah, but I could get everyone. It would have been a waste of a spell if it didn't.
You know, it's fine. I can take care of it. And I think what the magic disruption looks like is Stag resists it. She's not a willing creature here. So she basically just sort of like literally shrugs it off, and like the golden sparkles off of her shoulders.
I love that. What about X?
X is not expecting to have a spell cast on them, so I think similarly, like, I think their tail kind of floats like the feather fall, and it's like doing this behind them for a second as the magic takes hold. And then they also kind of shudder, like they don't like the feeling of magic getting onto them. And as they shudder, this little like almost fire spark kind of like runs down their body, similarly to how their entire body erupted in flame when they died like 15 minutes ago. But this like smaller spark kind of just runs down their body, and it almost burns up the magic dust off of them as well. The, like gold light just kind of burns up, and they don't say anything. They just kind of are still like stab down, stab down, stab down, stab down with Bog Dog on their back.
Perfect. So is everyone else is going to allow it though? Checking. Okay, so the three of you float down to the bottom, and you're looking up at the last two holdouts that are determined to do it themselves. Can I get one last check from y'all to make it the rest of the way? Just from Stag and X.
23 for athletics.
23 for acrobatics.
Oh, wait, do we like
fruity.
get down at the
Oh
same?
my
Wait,
God.
that's gay.
Yeah, maybe it's like
wait.
we like see each other, and then it's kind of like a race, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, are you gonna get like? No, I'm gonna get down first, and then it's like stab, 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 stab down as fast as they can.
And then like Stag's basically like rappelling herself down with the rope that she like lodges against rock, and then tie, and then tie. So like she'll get down quite fast, but she has to stop to redo the rope, and then you'll like get past her, and then she goes down really quickly, and then you get past her. And yeah, it's interesting because Stag, there is an aspect of her that is competitive that all of you very likely have seen, especially if you went to Strix or undergrad, like out on the like sport ball pitch, like while she was doing war fighting demonstrations, I don't know, college, academia, fantasy college things. Like she always has this competitive fire about her. But here with X, for some reason, it feels light. Like the fire feels bright and warm and open, as opposed to kind of cold and burning and scorching. And when she reaches the bottom, she's smiling in a very genuine way as she's looking at X.
I love that. And I think the two of you, not Liv making kissy hands. I think the
Okay.
two of you reach the bottom at the exact same moment, and maybe you're panting as you turn to each other, and you have sort of like a glowing, triumphant expression. Well, for X, some sort of summation of of that. But yeah, you once again feel very maybe not evenly matched is the right word, but you feel like worthy competitors of one another, worthy rivals, and it is a bit exhilarating, I'm sure, to both of you in your own ways. So you're all down there at the bottom of the pit. It is dark. Good thing Jaysha casted a light spell. You can see around you, it's essentially just dirt, but it has a large portion of it has that slime running across it, and as soon as it hits the bottom, it turns to it veers to the left and just starts slowly sloping downwards.
If I may, I think the way that Jaysha's light spell manifests is that the crystal vitiligo in their body starts to glow in this bioluminescent way. It starts at their eye and kind of goes down all along their body and emits this really bright light all around them. And they kind of look around and they turn to the rest of the group and they ask, Zero, you work with animals, right? Do you know how to track this thing?
Pests, but I can definitely try.
Wait, we're tracking the worm? I thought we're just collecting materials down here.
No, we have
and-
to win the game.
The game?
Mm-hmm. This is
In
the
order-
second round, right?
No.
X, no, but in order to know why the worm is behaving this way, we need to go see where it went, right?
Yes. And also getting more X, like we were talking about earlier, this is abnormal behavior for a worm. So in order to figure out what's going on, we should observe. And while we're observing Baru, we will collect materials. Multitasking.
Shouldn't we leave that to the professors?
No.
The investigating? No? But what if we have to fight that thing again?
We'll run.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't tell me you're scared, Baru.
Yes.
I thought a scientist was supposed to always search for horizons uncharted. And
And
that's
live,
something you
yes.
would know from Stag's dad, is something that he says quite often.
Yes, but if those horizons end in death, I'd rather not venture for those ones. We
Like
nearly
I
lost
said,
X.
We can run. We'll run.
Baru, and if Baru will allow it, Jaysha will put a hand on her shoulder, comfortingly, or in an attempt to be comforting anyway. You can interpret it however you want, but Jaysha just kind of says, it's going to be okay. We're all going together. And like Zero said, we're not here to fight it necessarily. If something goes wrong, we can leave. You're not going to be alone. We're not going to let anything hurt each other, right?
Right.
Yeah. X isn't going to get hurt again. I'm going to make sure they're going to be fine. And all of you. Or whatever.
Can I
You
do
don't
an
have to make sure
insight
that I'll be
check?
fine.
Sure. I'm a mostly closed book, but you can try to pry my pages open.
Yeah, no, because you slipped. You just really said that, huh?
Do I have to
Can I
roll
make
anything to contest this?
That's up to
Can I
you.
make an
You can
art?
choose to feel it or fail it. You can choose to feel it. You can choose to fail it, or you could do deception, or if you're sort of oblivious to your own slip up, then
I'll do a little deception check because
Okay.
I think as soon as it came out, Stag realized
sure, yeah.
and tried to cover it up.
Can I make an argument that Sierra should be allowed to roll with advantage?
For what reason?
One, Sierra is a huge social climber, knows how to try to read a room. Two, Ciro specifically is trying to get in good with Stag. So I think Ciro spends a lot of time reading Stag's energy and actions before reading anybody else in the room.
I will leave it up to Connie.
Yes, I'm into that. I'm into that.
It doesn't matter.
What'd you get?
God. The highest I got was a 7.
Can I give myself disadvantage?
You can choose to fail, Connie.
You can just, yeah, you can just
Did I
fail
choose
if you
to
don't
fail?
want
I
this.
choose to fail. I choose to fail.
Yay.
Yeah.
These are
Specifically
desperately wanting to
for
fail.
Zero.
So
I
what
will
are,
roll. I will keep the roll for other people.
what are you specifically looking for?
Can Stag? No, never mind. What am I trying to say? Can Ciro see? What does Ciro get from this interaction? That's the question. There we go. Like when Ciro sees this, what does Ciro read this situation as? Like what energy is it? Like, is this like every other situation or is this different? I guess is what I'm trying to get to. I'm so sorry.
You're good. So what you would know from Stag is she is basically a diamond. Perfect, beautiful, cut, and like hard. Like she is unbreakable. But when it comes specifically to X, it doesn't even just seem to be like they're like a new Strix grad person, like I have to watch out for them, which isn't accurate to how Stag operates anyway, but it's something specific about X that diamond exterior softens. Just for a little bit. There's like a little bit of a break in our armor, like a little bit of warmth where there's usually just cold ice. And I think that's what you would notice. And it's almost like a weakness, like a weak point, like a thing you could probably like wiggle yourself into if you knew how to play your cards just right. Like that's a way in.
All right, and since I technically only rolled a 7, I think that's perfect. Because I think that's like weird.
Awesome. Anyone else? You seem to kind of be at odds of what the objective is being down here. So does anyone have an argument for what they had in mind? Or giving into the sort of majority, perhaps?
Bari would give in, but they just grow silent.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Does a purple worm count as a dragon?
It doesn't.
For the purposes of being my favorite enemy?
It
Are you
is
thinking
not.
of a worm with Y?
It's yeah, I don't think it is. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think that was a bit of a stretch because dragons are really smart. And this worm is the least smart thing that's ever existed. It's just a silly guy.
That's so fair.
But with your thing you did last episode, were you able to pinpoint aberrations? Yes? Okay.
Yes, I can.
So retconning last episode, you did sense an aberration.
And that's new for the campus, generally.
Maybe not as common. I wouldn't say
Mhm.
it's not heard of, but not as notable as like, dragon.
Understood. I think with that in mind, X would kind of just tilt their head like they're listening to something really far away. And they seem to be able to look into the darkness and like on the edge of Jisha's light. Like they seem to just be able to look and know where they're going. This way, I think. And they're gonna like follow the ping. I can track it. And they start heading into the tunnel.
Oh, well, a master mage tower runner and an expert tracker. Master of many hats, I see.
I don't wear hats.
That's true, I did misspeak. My apologies.
Is anyone else?
Stag?
Go ahead.
Stag follows and will look at Bogdog on X's back and like reach into her pouch and like pull out some rations and like crumble it up and try to feed it to Bogdog.
Oh yeah, Bog Dog snuffles that shit up. Absolutely. Leaves a bunch of like
I wanted to hear that.
like a drool slash like swamp what would you call it? It's not ooze.
Gruel?
Swamp gruel. Swamp gel.
As we're going
Algae.
down this tunnel
There you go.
and following X, who's leading the way for everybody, Jisha is going to try and like take note of the environment that we're in, because this is not like a tunnel that just kind of exists right on campus. Like it's been made by this worm, presumably. And so is there anything about this tunnel that seems unusual or strange in some way, perhaps magical in some capacity?
Well, you can either give me a perception check or an arcana check, whichever.
I'll do
if you
arcana.
want to. Okay.
I'll do a little arcana check. Can I argue that I can use my Hunter's Bane to give me advantage on this check?
I don't know what that is.
It's to recall information about phase fiends or undead, or to recall lore about spells, magic items, eldritch symbols, magical traditions, planes of existence, and habitations of those planes, related to those creatures.
Yeah,
depending on what's down here.
I will just say that, like, without that, you had already had all of you had already had a kind of a conversation at the top of the hole of like what the purple worm is capable of, what its sort of normal habits are, the gems that are usually left behind in the path of its processing.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of already have a good amount of info on
that.
the
Okay.
purple worm itself.
In that case, an 18.
Arcana.
Yes.
You sense a small amount of arcane residue, essentially. It's not coating the entire tunnel, so you don't think it's the worm, but you think it's something that has had contact with the worm.
Jisha puts Rare hand up to the tunnel as they're walking and kind of like swipes it along as if they're trying to like take some of this residue. I don't know if I can, Vana. I am just trying.
You can have
as if they're gonna like wipe
slime.
some of this
That's fine.
some of the residue off. And Jisha looks at it and they lick it in an attempt to try and glean a little bit more information about it. My logic here is that Jisha is like a Order of the Mutant blood hunter. Their whole thing is about biological change, creating mutagens that are to be ingested, magical components. Also, geologists lick rocks. I don't know. I
love
I've
it.
heard
I'm
many that
considering
don't because many are poisonous.
That's a
It's
cool
true.
explanation. It's still gross as hell.
Yeah.
We get it. We understand it. We still despise
We
it.
still despise it. Give me
anything for science.
Give me a Constitution saving throw, please.
That's fine. That's fine. 21.
You don't get anything.
Okay. And I think Jisha kind of like still like licking, like if tasting it around in their mouth, this residue. They say to the whole group, not to anybody in particular, there's a magic down here and it's not the worms. I think there's someone or something else in here.
No problem. We'll just kick the rocks out of them as well.
I think this whole time Cyril has been walking next to Jasha. Just looks horrified. Nothing to say, nothing to share. There's this 4-foot person staring at you in disgust. Sit with that. Hold that.
Bo is at the back. I think they're right at back, very quiet, and I think hearing this, they kind of mutter under their breath, and I'm just gonna ritual cast detect magic. I mean, it'll take 10 minutes, so we'll be walking for 10 minutes, but I'm gonna ritual cast it. I just hear them behind Star, as Star walks in front of him, just mumbling in Draconic as they cast this spell.
And that's 30 feet?
Yes, I believe.
Um,
Yeah, 30 feet,
also,
30 feet radius.
if we're gonna start doing rolls and looking for stuff, can I say Ciro is like looking for materials? We can hold off on that, but I'm just putting that out on the table.
You can do that now. Do you want to give me a perception or give an argument for something else?
I mean, so when I say materials, I truly mean like Ciro is looking for two things. One, that good dirt for their spot in the bog. They're looking for nutritious worm dirt, which I'm hoping would also be around the gemstones that it passes.
Yeah. I think the soil is very easy to find. It is everywhere in the wake of this worm. But if they have like
not
castings.
nature. Yeah, so
They have,
not
like,
nature. Okay.
They have castings, like worms in real life, which are very nutrient rich and sort of the refuse of what they didn't take into their own body for nutrients. But I think for the gems, maybe a perception check.
Okay, I can do that.
Or if you wanted to stop and take a certain amount of time just like digging into the walls or something like that, or you know, futzing through the dirt, the rich soil that's left behind, then I'll just let you have it. But if you kind of are just while you're walking trying to find some, I'll just need a perception.
I actually do think that like Ciro would like, after watching Jaisha do that, would like rush ahead. So even if they did take the time to sit there and fuss around, like hopefully it'll line back up by the time they find something. The rest of the party will be there. But yeah, I do think Ciro would actually get like on their hands and knees and start digging around through this muck.
So on the trail, as you're digging through, you find this one spot and you find two small gemstones of azurite. Does anybody sort of stop and wait for Ciro, or do y'all just keep pushing forward without them? Jaisha will wait for Ciro.
X will
They
also
look back.
wait.
I think they do look back and just like, you can go and just like go back to digging, but it's up to you all.
I'm not leaving you behind, Ciro. Friends stick together.
That was dramatic. It just goes back to digging through this dirt.
Let me help
the
you.
little
And,
prairie dog over here.
and Jaisha will actually help Ciro to try and like speed things along.
Okay. Do you want to also give me a? Well, if you're also just working on it, let me just roll for you. And you actually find two more pieces of azurite.
And Jaisha hands them over to Ciro because Ciro's the one looking for stuff.
Does azurite have any magical properties, or is it just a pretty stone?
We'll talk about it later.
Oh, good to know. I will wait. Thank you for rocks.
Yo,
I think as opposed to how X normally moves kind of very slowly and very purposefully, when they're down here on the scent, so to speak, I think they literally act like a shepherd, like a herding dog, where they're kind of like pacing back and forth around the like the tunnel, kind of like coming up to where Jaisha and Ciro were both like digging around in the muck, and then kind of like looking and then turning again and like going back to the front, like doubling back behind Baru and Star. I also rolled survival as like a tracking check, and I did in fact get a natural 20 plus 2, so 22.
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe it is a dragon actually.
I mean, no, it isn't, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. But yes, I mean, it's kind of funny because it's a bit easy to track this creature because it is leaving a literal gigantic cavernous tunnel in its wake. But you, more than anyone, are so aware of this tunnel. What else do you
X knows exactly that there's a tunnel right
We're
here.
like, if we were tracking, we are literally walking in the footsteps of this creature.
That's why they're so good at it.
But if you were trying to track something else or trying to discern something else with survival other than like the path of the creature, do let me know. I would love to give you more information than that.
Yeah, I think given what Jasha said about there being another magical component in here, I think both trying to like not only know that like, yes, obviously the worm was here before and we're following where it went, but maybe even being able to discern like if we're underground, where is like the above ground version of where we are, to be like, where is it heading potentially? And slash or where did that magical aura come from?
So I definitely think you're maintaining your senses under the ground, which is definitely very difficult, especially on a predetermined course that you're on. But you're heading towards what seems to be the western corner of the main campus, which eventually goes over into Lorehold. So you're steadily heading in that direction, as far as you can tell. And then as far as the magical being, it was a survival check and not an arcana check, so I just don't know.
That's fair. I'm happy with the information I've gotten with my nat 20.
Okay. Trying to.
Has my detect magic gone up? That's 10 minutes past, or would that be a bit longer?
Wait, I know what you find. I know what you find with the nat 20. Sorry, Drac. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just like was deeply considering C's question still. I think you're kind of following the track, the path of it. You really don't have a choice. But you do see buried in the rich soil, you see just a peaking amount of leather coming out of one of the piles of refuse. And when you pick it up, it seems to be a partially digested piece of clothing, like maybe a bracer or something.
Jasha, will you lick this and see who it belonged to?
Does it look like there is... Okay, what does it look like is on this bracer? I need to know before I make a decision.
It's worm poop. It's covered in worm poop.
No, then no.
The other thing you licked was worm excrement or goo. What do you call that? Excretion.
It's body. It's slime. It's slime.
Phlegm.
That's different.
That's more sweat than it is poop.
That. What Liv said.
Y'all are
it's different.
splitting hairs.
There's lines.
I don't know why.
There's lines. There's lines. There's tears. I
There's
think
tears coming out of my eyeballs right now.
Okay, well,
are you gonna lick those up too?
Huh?
We're not talking about licking eyeballs here, okay?
I meant the tears, not eyeballs. God.
You gonna eat those?
Okay, Jisha takes the Connie, stop. Jisha takes the bracer from X, kind of like from one corner, trying not to like touch it too much, and shakes it a little bit to try and get some of the excrement off of it. And they go to examine this object. Does it have any sort of like markings or anything that would tell it, like, is it part of a uniform for one of the colleges? Like if it was like a former student or anything like that?
Give me a perception check or investigation.
Okay.
Is that a thing in D&D?
Investigation is, and I would prefer that.
Yeah.
My dice hate me. 9.
It's pretty digested. It's pretty miraculous that it made it through the worm intact at all. As usually the only thing that's able to pass through it is extremely hard gem or stone or something like that. Usually everything else gets digested and turned into the castings. So
Is there any remains of like a person attached to this bracer at all? Like pieces of, I don't know, organ, skin, blood,
Definitely
remnants,
not.
bone?
Definitely not. That would definitely be digested if that were the case.
Okay.
I thought these worm things ate rocks and dirt and stuff. What's a Joe Schmo doing in its belly?
I mean, it did try to eat all of you earlier, didn't it?
I don't know if it was trying to... See, that's the thing. And Stag has paused at the front as the two of you have been collecting rocks, and she's sort of pacing in these like considerable circles and stroking her chin as she's looking around. You know, I'm no master tracker or thinker of monsters or anything like that, but I've, you know, arm wrestled my fair share of owl bears, enough to know that animals don't just go whack-a-doodle for no reason. There's always a reason. They're either hungry, their territory is being taken over by someone trying to develop the land, usually some rich person, usually contracted by my family, honestly, or they're being controlled in some way. So this doesn't make sense.
Well, purple worms are always hungry, and quite frankly, they'll eat anything. But you're right, the fact that it came here and then again turned around, it's too many abnormalities.
The magical residue.
It's bizarre.
Your control theory might actually, you might be onto something. The magical residue, maybe it's a person that's controlling this worm, using it for something.
Yeah, but why? Why just explode into the middle of a Mage Tower tournament while we were crushing ass, by the way, and just disrupt it and leave? Doesn't make any sense. Why Mage Tower? Maybe the person controlling it is some person who could never do score any goals during Mage Tower, and this is their way of getting revenge.
Maybe it's not about the game, but the people playing it.
Potentially.
It did attack the field. Was it one of the players, maybe? Who did the worm go after immediately? And it came out of the middle of the arena. It was me. And that who was on the field? Chorus?
Cadoris.
And X?
Cadoris, yeah.
Cadoris
was unconscious with you. And then the other people on the edge of sort of the suckage was
Baru and X, I believe.
And Aurora, unconscious with Baru. And then Jaisha and Chorus.
Really could have been any one of us it was targeting. His mouth was definitely big enough to swallow us all.
X takes back the piece of leather armor. Is there anyone missing on campus? A Joe Schmo?
Is there?
Is there, Vana?
Would we
know?
Anybody can give me a history check.
Danik,
yeah.
I read the newspaper this morning. That I don't know.
You
Anyway.
read just the gossip column. You know what's missing is Stag's pride.
That's so true.
Can I have an advantage on this history check? Because it's specifically about Strixhaven stuff, and Stag would be very current on Strixhaven news.
Sure. Wait, why?
Because it's like her whole institution, like her whole family, they're all
okay.
here.
I was like, you're all going there.
Yeah, but she's a legacy student.
Legacy.
I'm not willing. I don't think Baru doesn't keep track of everyone, so I don't think they would know. But has my detect magic gone off?
Oh yeah, in 30 feet, there's nothing.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep it on. I can keep on for 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna walk around. Oh wait, do you still have the residue, Jaisha, on you? Or did you wipe
I'm
it
sure
off?
I'm sure some of it is like still on Rare Hand.
Is there any still on? I guess I'll better.
Huh?
Is there any enough residue on Jaisha's hand for me to look at that for any magical? What kind of magic thing is that?
No, it was barely perceptible to begin with, so I just don't.
Okay.
Especially now that it's been sort of tainted.
I licked it.
Well, I guess how about the gems that Syrah's picked up?
No.
Nothing. Okay.
I got a 17.
What were you rolling for again?
History.
History to see if anybody's missing.
Sorry, we're bouncing around.
I got it. Well, Liv and I got a 10. That's why we were bouncing.
All of you can't think of anyone who's missing. Stag. The only thing close you can think of are students that have been less present, but not missing, just like distanced and distracted and missing classes, but they always show up eventually.
Anyone in particular I know who's been playing hooky?
Chorus.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. Certainly not anyone who's made headlines recently.
No, but the worm did come bursting out of the center of the field where you were.
Yes.
And Grayson Wildemere was present.
You don't think Grayson...
Okay. I dislike Grayson
Well-
as much as the next person, but I don't think he's capable of that.
No, he's absolutely not capable. That's the only thing.
He's
about my
firstly
theory.
incompetent and wouldn't know how to control a worm.
That's true. The only thing he's halfway good at is writing, and he's not even... He relies on the same verbs all the time.
Connie's just
His
insulting
infrastructure
me.
isn't bad. He has good sentence structure, but
You know, you are surprisingly good at writing poetry, Stag.
It's just something you're taught growing up. You know, it's one of the things you have to know how to do: shoot, hunt, ride, write.
You can shoot?
Not very well, but I do have and I think this is true. I do have a crossbow.
Those aren't as good, by the way.
Oh, a longbow purist, I see.
It's a better weapon. But perhaps Grayson might not have done it, but he does have resources.
I don't know. Big exploding purple worm in the middle of an arena isn't exactly Grayson's style. He prefers to hide in the shadows, write his little words, and then send them out into the paper the next morning. This is too bald-faced for him. Honestly, something this theatrical would fit, I don't know, an Aurora better, but that doesn't make sense, obviously.
I don't think so. Aurora wouldn't do something like that. And Jisha cuts in like far too quickly, I think, to defend Aurora when Stag starts trying to
Stag-
shift the blame.
Stag, you recall one of the other sort of less present students lately has been Aurora.
Huh. I think that pings in Stag's head. Really? You seem pretty willing to die on a hill for her?
I just know that Aurora, she's a stand-up student, and she wouldn't do something like that.
Yes, Liv?
Stand up.
what is Aurora's major, for a lack of a better term? Like,
She's
obviously,
a
we're
Witherbloom student, and she specializes in death.
Aurora wouldn't do that. If Aurora had the opportunity to use magic on a purple worm, quite frankly, she would kill it. It'd be a huge source of magic for her.
You might have a
What
point
Sarah
there,
said.
Zero. Well, I mean, Aurora and Chorus have been missing a lot of class recently. Maybe they've been going off, scheming stuff, raising worms from the dead, commanding them to do their necrotic bidding, whatever you spellcasters do.
Maybe Chorus, but definitely not Aurora. You know, I think we should just abandon that whole line of inquiry. It's not going to lead us anywhere.
Really? And here I thought you, research-minded, would be open to possibilities.
Occam's razor, or give me a magical name. Give me a magical
Tensor's
name. Give me a
razor.
magical name.
Tensor's razor.
Tensor's razor. You know, if there is a possibility that is far too complicated and doesn't make sense, you take the simpler option. The simpler option is that Aurora has nothing to do with this.
I'm personally
I'm just saying.
confused
seems-
why we think as a student people could have actually died, and as far as I'm aware, I don't think anyone wants anyone dead.
It's a competitive program.
What is?
The master's program.
And you think people would kill for that?
lesser
The
planets,
Ascension
yes.
is coming up, if you recall, Baru.
Well, yes, but the idea of having to tame a purple worm rather than just killing themselves, it seems like a lot of effort to do something that would be easier on their own.
That is
Like
true.
I said, that worm killed X. Well, nearly killed X. It took
wait.
5, almost 6 of us to even chase that away. You think one person was able to tame it?
The ascension is wait, let's go back to this ascension. What do you think the likelihood that this is that the worm is being affected by that? Do we think it could be a god beast? Like, do we think that maybe with the ascension coming, that's affecting this creature?
I would like to roll to see if that is anything if that adds up to anything. For personal reasons, I've looked into star archers and its effects on animals. Can I see if that's a thing I've heard of or seen?
I will just say that you haven't heard of any other instances of what has happened in your life.
Have I?
Have you what?
Would X have any kind of knowledge about something like this happening potentially?
I don't think so.
Would Stag have been told stories about like the previous ascensions, especially the one where their great grandfather ascended, of anything being like, yeah, then the beasts ran wild across the land, stuff like that, anything
And
like that, even if it's mythological.
And similarly, Jasha has been, for reasons, has been studying the Ascension and past cycles very, very deeply and in depth. So similarly, would I have heard anything?
I think what you've heard, and this is sort of maybe across the board, is that animals are drawn to the star arches in times close to the ascension, but they're not necessarily wild or particularly feral, right? It's just maybe creatures that normally would not be in that area have been drawn to it. So it's not necessarily an increase in virility, but an increase in variety. But yeah, I don't think if there's an increase in violence, it's just because new creatures have been introduced to the area. Go ahead.
Earlier, Connie asked a question or not Connie, sorry, C asked a question of trying to figure out in what direction the worm was going, and you mentioned it was going towards Lorehold. Is it going towards the star arches on campus?
They're everywhere.
Oh, okay.
So there are likely star arches on Lorehold. The main one is at the central campus, like the largest one on campus. But they're also scattered across Arcavios. So
okay, cool.
Huh. I don't know. I don't think that would make
Regardless.
sense.
It is heading toward Lorehold, the campus.
I think as
We're going west.
all are discussing this, you do hear another, or you feel another one of those like aftershocks, that trembling beneath your feet.
We should go. Maybe warn everyone in Lorehold. Then just get out of this wormhole.
We're already here. We should keep going.
Yeah, don't you think it'd be faster to just, take the subterranean tunnel? This seems to be a shortcut anyway. If we did double back, I mean, maybe it'll explode out into college campus by the time we get up.
For once, I agree with Stag.
If we did need to fight it, we would be at its weakest point.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just hope we don't stumble onto like a nest or something. That would suck.
Stag, you're...
What? It's not like there were two of them. There was just one.
Oh, there were two.
What?
Yes, there are two.
What do you mean by that, Zero?
When X and I were looking for equipment, we found a smaller hole.
like a baby worm-sized hole? Well, how big? And Stag starts making like barrel gestures with her arms, like this big. Just tell me to keep going smaller or bigger.
I think I wait till you reach the point there.
Ugh, it's like as wide across as a barrel. That's definitely baby size. Yeah, that would explain it. If, you know, the only time I've ever seen an owlbear truly go like ballistic is when it's been protecting its cub, or if it's in an area near its cub.
It also went in reverse. It came up, made a little chaos, and then went back down.
Oh, well, maybe that's that evolution thing. You know, maybe new age worms can go both ways.
I sincerely hope not.
Vana,
Mhm.
while
Are y'all still standing still, or are you moving down the tunnel right now?
I've been trying to move down.
Okay, cool.
we can move, as soon as X and Zero started talking about how there's a second worm, I think Jaysha started to turn inward into their magic a little bit. There's this wellspring of magic within them that they can tap, that they're not really sure where it comes from or what it is. They just know it's connected to their lineage in some way. And I think they tap into it and they try and divinate functionally whether or not following this worm and going down this path is going to lead is a good idea. Basically, I'm functionally casting augury.
Okay. What does that do?
So basically, you can tell us whether or not our plan that we're planning on taking for the next 30 minutes is the time frame it gives us, whether or not it will result in wheel, which means like good things will happen, woe, bad things will happen, or wheel and woe for both good and bad. It's complicated, or nothing if it's kind of like neutral.
And you don't need to roll anything. You just have to cast it.
No, I just have to cast it. It takes a minute to cast, so like we're walking for a minute while Jaysha, I think, is like tugging at this divination. And I would like you, Vana, since you know more about this than I do, what does it look like when Jaysha taps into this magic?
I think it's almost like you're looking into a dollhouse of your own existence. And you can see, and it's abstract. Like, I'm speaking of it very literally, but it's more abstract in your mind, and this is like the only way maybe you could possibly explain it to somebody. But you're looking down at yourself, and you can see yourself where you are right now, and you can see the dirt that was here 10 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. And you can feel the difference in its richness and the change in its component, and the passing of critter and flora. It's almost like you zoom out and hit rewind.
Do I get wheel, woe, or both?
I'm gonna answer that either way, but I do also want you to roll Arcana.
Okay. Terrifying. 21.
So you get wheel and woe. But the other information that sort of leaks in while you're going through this, while you're tapping into this very specific vein of magic in yourself, is you can see brick by brick something coming together under the earth. And you can see when it's brand new and seeing much use, and then you can see it almost instantly fall into disarray and disuse as it grows over with sludge and slime and is taken back by nature, essentially.
Does this feel like a look into the past or a look into the future?
I wonder if it's easy for you to tell.
Fair.
I don't think you have gotten there yet.
Okay.
Like I said, like I'm explaining it in certain terms, but I think it's much more abstract when Jasha's experiencing it. It's like a dream where it makes sense to you, but if you wake up and try to explain it to somebody, it doesn't make any sense.
And I think as Jasha kind of like pulls out of this reverie, I think maybe they had started to like drag back a little bit behind the group as they were doing this. They were walking a little bit slower than everybody else, almost like they were sleepwalking through this tunnel. And when they snap back from their reverie and they come back, I think the first thing that just kind of slips out of their mouth is, we need to be careful. This worm is going to swallow this place whole, maybe?
What? I mean, it's got a big mouth, but I don't think it's that big.
Not literally, Stag.
And
There's more to this.
As you are trying to form words from what you've just experienced, the tunnel empties out into another dark space. Is your light spell infinite, or how long does that last?
It lasts until I dismiss it or I cast light again.
Okay, so infinite, yeah. So you step into this space and you look around, and it's almost like moments of deja vu for you, Jasha, where it's like, are those the bricks that were forming the space in my mind? And you can see them brand new and shining and in perfect architectural form, but then you're looking at them and they're broken and cracked and covered in moss and refuse. And it appears to all of you looking around that you are in an old sewer system. Do you say anything when you enter that space, Jasha?
I think Jasha is trying to piece everything together and trying to find the words to explain what Ray saw. So I don't think that Ray immediately like says something. I think there's a beat to allow the rest of the group to sort of like explore, investigate before they.
Okay. Can I get a history check from our Lorehold students?
History?
Yeah.
Just a 6.
And that 20, a 28.
Jesus.
Come on, Brainiac.
I don't know. Maybe you did a small paper on this or something. But Baro, you recognize this as the now abandoned sewer system that was built when the university was originally founded. So 600 some odd years ago. And when it was built, it was a testament to the original architecture that still remains to this day on the main campus. But all the archways are mathematically exact. The gargoyles are supremely ornate, because they're being used as spouts and ways to transfer water. But at this point, it's been replaced and pretty quickly was replaced by magical means. The growth of the school was so expedient that they just transition out of needing such things very quickly. But they also never got rid of it. They just kept building over it.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. These are the old sewer system that Strixhaven used before we replaced it all with magic sigils and skills and means. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Probably should be
smells old and
careful.
sewer systemy.
Yeah, the smell is sort of like sewage, but if sewage had been fossilized. So it's much more, I don't know, it's less oppressive due to its staleness, but it's still unpleasant. Like no one be pooping in here recently, you know? Well, that you know about.
Nonetheless, Zero's gonna make a point of being like, ew, and start hovering again. And will try to deceptively hover / fall back to wherever Baru is in the group.
Okay.
Yes. And once like they're next to Baru, they're gonna try to very subtly, at least to the rest of the group so other people can't hear, ask, are you all right?
No. Oh. We fought a purple worm. Several people nearly died, and everyone just seems fine with it. And we're just marching towards what Jasha had just said would be bad news. And I feel like I'm the only one that's acknowledging that or has a problem with that, and I don't understand why.
Well, for me, I can't speak for the others, but for me, I was very interested in what could be down here in terms of supplies and research, but I agree. I now think maybe we're a bit too in over our heads, so I'm sorry.
Fine. I just want to get out of here as soon as possible.
Okay, we'll go home.
So all of you are oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. I think Zero would like offer out their hand to Baru.
They will hesitate but then take it.
And I think they're or I don't think they will. They will take the 4 crystals that they found, put them in Baru's hands, and then like close her fingers over the crystals and just I still wanted to make sure that we got something for you though. So
Thank you.
we'll go home soon, I promise.
And all of you are kind of oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, and then they'll buzz back to the front of the group where
Okay.
Stag and X and everyone are.
And all of you are still in the mouth of the opening where it opens up into the sewer system because the tunnel you're coming out of is like, 20-foot diameter. But what you're entering into is very much more like strict lined walls. And there's 2 raised platforms on either side. And with the width of it, if you were to walk along it, you could probably only walk, toe to toe. And every now and then, if you look farther down, anybody with dark vision especially can see that there are a series of makeshift bridges that just like at random points cross over the water that's underneath the stagnant water in the aqueduct. But other than that, you're not able, and maybe 2 people could fit across that. But as far as the walkways on each side, it's a 1-person deal.
Well, first of all, from when I first cast Detect Magic, has 10 minutes passed since we got to this opening?
I think so, yeah. Y'all had a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
X's eyes kind of like cats. The like little halo seems to reflect whatever little bit of light that Jasha is still giving off as they look. Because I do have super dark vision, as I like to call it. X can see out to a range of 60 feet in the dark. So I think they kind of just like, again, very much like a herding dog with a mission. They seem incredibly focused, specifically on like doing something. So I think there's like a small pause at the lip of the cavern, and then they immediately like go to one side, and when they dip out of the range of Jasha's light, it's like they're there and then they're kind of not. Like as soon as they're into the darkness, they're gone. There's not even like a vague shadow or shape where they're supposed to be. It's like they're like once they're in the light, they're there, and then once they're in the darkness, it's just kind of like they're gone. But I think you can hear their little like footsteps like going forward against the like old stone, to where they can like start to see the bridges and like the little ledges, and they come back like fairly quickly, and they kind of just come out of the darkness again. The ledges get pretty narrow.
Ooh, where'd you
we should
vanish
still-
off to?
Just up ahead.
Oh, maybe my eyes are getting worse since we've been down here, but I didn't see you at all.
It's dark down here.
Good point. Can you tell where that worm thing went? Is there like a big worm-shaped hole on the opposite wall or something?
Can I tell where that worm? X would specifically be looking for where the worm went, and also just because they're like this, they would be checking for any and all possible exits and entrances into the space.
So with the amount that you went back, you would relatively quickly see that the passage begins to like turn. It forks. There are alcoves. There are rooms with closed doors on them. So it's a bit hard to determine which way to go. But if you look closely, you can see on the edges of the aqueducts that same mucus that is on the tunnels.
The worm seems to be following the path of the aqueduct, although there are an alarming number of exits, entrances, and doors in this place.
Yeah, evidently. And are the aqueducts like underwater? Like did the worm go into the water?
Yeah, I mean I think it's like a little too juicy to fit perfectly in the waterway, but the bulk of its body is in there, so you're not seeing any mucus on the bottom, but it's sort of like rubbing off on the sides at the corners where the aqueduct comes out of the water and forms the platform. But the ceilings are tall enough that, well, I mean, I guess you'd have to get up there, but I will offer to you that they are not slimy.
I don't know about this place. I saw it in a dream, in a vision.
In what context? Like a happy, haha, we were just swimming in the sewer water dream, or like a, oh no, there's poop everywhere kind of nightmare?
No, think more like bricks being built and then destroyed.
Well, in like a yay construction way, or like an ominous this will come to ruin way?
Like an ominous this will come to ruin way, and not just any bricks, but and Jisha points to the sewer system all around them. These exact ones. And I've never been here before. I've never seen these before.
I don't like that. I think maybe we should go.
I don't like that we came all the way down here and we are ending up with more questions than answers. We can't go up empty-handed. We've got those cute gems, but we don't have... If we just give this off to the Strixhaven professors, they'll take all the glory for themselves. Well, basically, if we're footnotes, we'll be lucky. And like everyone mentioned, Ascension is right around the corner. If we give up anything, I mean, every ounce of grain matters here.
Better footnotes than gravestones.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Not all of us are willing to die for the Ascension, Stag.
And you can't.
All right, then you can
For
go.
the first time, you get like the, I guess, dirtiest look Bar has ever given.
To Jaysha or Stag?
To Stag, as Stag claims that glory is better than staying alive. But they don't say anything, they turn away.
If anyone has anything they want to say to me, they can say it to my face.
They pull off their earring, and as they twirl in their fingers, it turns into a small screwdriver as they start working, tightening some screws on Star, their construct, and just says, I think we should go.
A hunt doesn't always happen over the course of a day. Sometimes the long game is the one you want to win.
I just don't want anyone swooping in here like vultures, you know? Taking what we found, taking what attacked us first.
Have you considered that maybe power is best when it's distributed amongst more people, rather than concentrated in the hands of the few?
Who's talking about Stag sort of
talking-
turns on you, cocks her head to the side. Why does everything have to turn into like a political statement from you?
I just... You're the one that was talking about this being the ascension and not wanting other people to have information to have a leg up on you for the cycle. You're the one that mentioned that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the cycle is coming. It would be short-sighted not to mention it. All I mean here is knowing how Strix works. I mean, come on. Grayson, if we go back up there empty-handed and we just... You know, I'm not saying we don't give information to people. I think knowing that a world-ending worm is on our heels is something that probably the faculty should be aware of, yeah. Because it would save lives, okay? And I think we're all on the same page about wanting to save lives here. But what I mean about that is, if people can use something to their own advantage, they will. And if we just go back up there with nothing to show for it, we're basically just turning around and showing our bellies.
Yeah, I suppose your family would know something about that.
Jaysha,
Sorry.
what does something look like to you, Stag? How does this end in success for you? What do you want?
I'd like to get at least a name or a real motivation. A real answer. If we can answer, what does the worm want? Why is it here? Who controls it? What else is it capable of? One of these four, then I'm happy going back up. Can
not
any
gonna
of
get
you
that
answer
from the
one of these four
worm.
questions with full confidence?
We're not going to get it from the worm. We can't talk to it. It's not going to speak to us.
We can maybe try to get it from whatever's controlling it.
I
Or,
don't-
I don't know, can't Witherbloom people, like, take a tooth or something and do, like, tooth magic and figure out where it came from and what it's all about?
No.
I've heard of divination from biological matter, and it seems like slime gives you a little bit, but not enough.
I mean,
If we get a
yes.
piece of its armor, or an eyeball, or a piece of its flesh, or something, we don't have to fight it. Just hack a chunk off or something.
X
Jaysha,
pulls out the
you have-
stinger
Oh.
that they kept in the baby Bjorn with Bogdog that pierced their body.
And as Stag was talking about the divination through biology as well, I think a light bulb went off in Jaysha's head and they went to their pack. It's like a switch flipped and you turned on their academic brain. And I think like they go to their pack and they pull out some of their vials that don't have any of their mutagens in it, just like empty vials. And they start to, I think, like scoop some of the slime into the vials.
Yeah, like now we're talking. Or even a sample of this poopy water, or something. You know? Like maybe there's something in there.
I literally have vials of, and they immediately like remedy their tone. I have samples, and I will work on the samples, Stag, and I will work very hard with all the other samples that we have, as well as covering up the hole, like we promised the professor that we would. I'll druid craft it; it'll look fantastic. I just think that we should go. And Baru, you seem to know this area well, so is there a way that we can get back to the surface faster from here, rather than retracing our steps?
Did my history check give me like? Did I see schematics of this? What did I?
I mean, probably not schematics, but you would know that at several points there's going to be ladders that lead up to the surface.
Okay. Yeah. There should be some
'Cause-
ladders.
Getting back up where you came from is going to be a whole different challenge.
Yeah, there should be ladders that just get us up top. That you have to get down here for maintenance somehow. It should be just behind one of these doors. Should be able to get us up top quickly.
Stag lets out a big sigh, and Vana, I want to know if, like, would Stag be off base in assuming that if they went up just like this with no other answers, would their dads be upset at them?
I think if their dads found out that they did anything halfway, they would be upset.
I really don't want to do this, y'all, but I think this is in character. Fine. Take this. And Stag takes the rope and hands it to Baru. You seem to know the most about this place here. And she also hands a big fistful of rations to X for Bog Dog. I'll be right behind you guys.
I'm gonna roll insight.
Are you staying?
The insight check can go. I can
gonna
answer
roll
too.
insight. Okay, yeah. if you're just answering, I guess, but
Yeah, I'm gonna get something, some kind of answer. I'll be on your heels.
We can't. You can't do this alone, Stag.
I'll stay.
X, no, it's dangerous down here, okay? It's a lot faster if I just move on my own, and if it's just me, I could probably, like, hit something and collapse a tunnel behind me or something. I don't want...
I'm faster than you are. If anyone will be moving faster, it'll be me.
Okay, reluctantly, I do have to admit that is true, but I can't... This is a decision I'm making on my own, okay? Happy? I don't want to rope any of you into this. If you want to leave, you can leave. Let this decision impact just me. I don't want anyone else throwing their hat down here.
I already told you I don't wear hats.
God damn it, I keep forgetting.
And that's where we're gonna take our break. We'll be back and we'll find out what our team decides to do, split the party or go together. During the break, check out our sponsors and also keep an eye on chat because I'll be running a giveaway. And we'll see y'all back here in 10 minutes. Yeah, man. Our players at the mouth, the opening of the worm tunnel that is dipping into the ancient sewers of Strixhaven University. And Stag has just declared that they are willing to stay behind to do what needs to be done. And the rest of you are in a position. Well, X is offered to stay behind. Baru and Ciro, you're in a position to make a choice here.
I think there's a moment where you see Baru step backwards. And I think while stepping backwards, they bump into Star behind them, their construct there. If anyone knew that, they have a 7-foot to silver, gold, some brass mixed in, almost like weaved in. I think gave the example of Art Nouveau style construct. And kind of look up at Star and then over at Stag. And I'm gonna roll for this. Oh, that was bad. Very clearly, there's a moment. I rolled a 7. Very clearly, there's a moment where, I think Baru looks through Stag, like the eyes are on Stag, but not looking at Stag, and it looks like they're about to cry, but then they blink it off and go, it's probably best if we stay together.
I think Zero. So the whole reason Zero even thought changed their mind was because Baru seemed really, really uncomfortable and really unhappy and not safe, but also like Stag being down here by themselves is not good and not safe. So Zero's kind of in like an awkward situation because this is neither of these things are good. Like either, well, now Baru is saying that they're going to stay, but like that was their mindset. And as they're thinking about everything and going over everything in their mind and hearing Stag's words of like, we have to get an answer, we have to know what's going on, we have to understand things. I think Zero goes back to that conversation about like god beasts and what the natural world or how the natural world reacts during the ascension in the Stargate. And there is just like enough of an itching curiosity that starts to influence their thoughts of kind of like, well, maybe there is something to that. Maybe that's just not nothing. Maybe there is something to that. And then you start talking about the Stargates and Ascension, and it's a done deal. Like everything clicks into place in their mind. And now they nod. They're going to stay too. That's at least their mindset and their logic.
Seriously, you all don't have to stay down here if you want to go back up. It's safer up there. I recognize that.
I'm not staying for you. I need some materials that might be down here. I'm looking for some night shards, which would be useful when upgrading Star.
Oh, not here for me, huh? Ouch, you wound me.
There's a slight smile on Baru's face, but they turn away still.
Well, Stag, you do, even if you don't mean to always, have really, really good Witherbloom-based ideas. The whole thought of gathering samples and looking into the natural world and how these creatures are reacting and potentially tracking them. I know that you have this penchant for history, but honestly, you could have been a good Witherbloom student. You have the right instincts for it.
Oh, and I think this is very obviously just like flattery.
It's so obvious.
Like she so blooms. She gets like brighter.
Connie, tell me if I'm incorrect or not, but I do not think that Stag would know the difference between a succulent and a cactus. Like, not
no. She'd be like, succulent. No, she just goes, oh, it's very nice of you to say. Zero, no, I wouldn't say I have a natural aptitude for being a prodigy at anything Witherbloom related. No. I just say, I grew up in the wild, so I know my way around a plant or a flora.
Stag sees a flower and instantly starts thinking about Georgia O'Keeffe. Like, that's just like...
That is accurate. Pussy willow, you say?
I thought you grew up in the mountains where nothing grows.
There were still shrubs and the occasional rock and sapling tree, maple, I think, cedar, Lots of rocks. I can't understate how many rocks there were.
A natural. It's truly a natural.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Lots of mountain flowers, too. Actually, in summer, the entire side of that glacier would be in full bloom, while still being blanketed in snow. It was quite a sight to see.
Mm-hmm.
Who made that noise?
Sierra. Sierra's just nodding like,
I thought X did that, and I was like, what?
Whoa.
Sure.
yeah, like
Surprise,
trying
X
so
has
hard
very
not-
strong feelings about flowers. Surprise.
Flowers in the
Zero.
snow? I don't think so.
It's taking Cyril everything not. If any other Witherbloom student had said that, Cyril would be just ripping them apart, beating the ass in the QRTs. Just like, me. But because it's Stag, they're like, yeah, no, I imagine so.
Mm-hmm. Lots of different colors, too. Colors I bet you've never even seen before.
I've never been out there. You know me, Fey Realm didn't. But no.
Oh, wait, isn't the Fey Realm full of flowers?
Different flowers, not your mountain flowers, Stag.
You're right, you're right. Well,
think
hey.
as we're discussing the particulates of flowers between realms, you hear a piercing whistle, and it is long and echoed as it just bounces around the entirety of this sewer system. And then you all go silent, and nothing happens. And then you can hear the quietest stampede of small feet. And you look around, and through the cracks in the stone and the holes in the walls, and even out of the waterway, just hundreds of rats. Hundreds of rats. Can I get a perception check, please? From everyone?
I'm gonna
Is it
fail
for
the
how many
perception
rats
check.
there are exactly?
No.
I'm gonna choose to fail the perception check because I think Baru screamed
Oh no!
at all these rats, like just crawling out every single crevice as he screamed.
3, okay.
And they're just in a panic right now.
Why are you laughing? See, why are you laughing?
Oh, that's literally just very funny to me.
Oh.
I love Baru with my whole heart. That's why I'm laughing.
I thought
I'm
you
laughing
rolled,
because
I thought you
love
rolled
Baru.
extremely.
No, I rolled a 16. That's all.
Okay.
I got a 14.
A 14. Yeah, I think anyone above a 10 really can see that if you're looking down and you're like raising your feet so that to avoid getting trampled to some degree by these mice and rats, you can see that some of them have small pieces of clothing on, like little vests and small hats.
Fuck, we need a druid. Fuck.
I'm so sorry. I can't be her. Okay, God. I'm so fucking sorry.
Some of them have little spats, some little rat spats.
What the fuck is this, Anna?
I mean, Baru
dream.
doesn't notice. Baru's screaming, like trying to scramble up Star to get out of reach
Yeah,
of these
Cyril
rats as
is-
they run past us.
Cyril's fully freaking out too and has just like zipped as high up into the air as they possibly can.
X, immediately as the whistle went off, X like had their bow out and strung, and they were like trying to train it on the source of the whistle, but because it's echoing around this chamber, I think it's really confusing for them and
Yeah.
very frustrating as well. So is there with the 16, is there any way for me to like pinpoint in sort of the direction that the whistle? No.
Oh, okay.
fuck.
Well, not in front of you, I suppose. Not back up the tunnel. And
That's fair.
You can probably surmise that the rats and mice parade is heading towards the source, or at least responding to it in some way.
Oh, I thought that the rats were perhaps coming at us from the source, but they're moving towards the source of the whistle?
They're responding to the sound.
Stag, similar to X, as soon as a whistle sounded, like drew the axe, and like hawked it over her shoulder, like ready to strike. And then the rats came, and then Baru screamed, and then Zero fluttered, and Stag just instinctively throws out an arm, like in front of Baru's Star and Zero, and stepped forward to like the lip of the tunnel, and is looking around wide-eyed. Is every single rat dressed?
No.
What? I don't know if that's weirder.
Yeah, both are horrifying answers. You could have said yes or no, and I think I would have been deeply upset either way.
I'm imagining, you know, the Pinocchio scene where everyone turned into donkeys. That's what I'm imagining.
Yes,
Like,
that's
it's
what I'm
horrifying.
thinking, too.
scene
How
just
many
replace
people
donkey
were
with rat.
naked?
I'm just thinking
It's
that
called
of
a
the bracelet you
bacchanal.
found.
Stag is gonna try to grab one of the rats that has spats on.
Okay.
One of those fat rats.
Okay, give me a I don't know, a dexterity or whatever.
Okay.
I think you could grab a rat, like any old rat, for no roll. But
Okay.
I think if you're really trying to grab a spat rat,
18. Do I get a spat rat?
you like a bear in the river. Snatch up this and it does a little scream as you grip it, and then you turn it over in your hand so it's like belly up to you and you can see its little tiny spats.
Who are you? Who sent you? Who sent you? Zero, what is it saying? And I hold it up like a phone to Zero, belly up.
Okay, you know what, Vanna? We need to have this conversation. Can I speak to animals?
I don't know, can you?
I don't
I
think
don't
I
know.
can.
I don't think you have the spell.
I don't have the spell and I don't have that ability, although it is very funny to think that Stag
thinks, yeah,
like
every
just
Witherbloom
because
person.
Zero's a fairy.
Or like, yeah, because it's Fey realm. All Fey people speak
Yes.
rat, mouse, animal, yeah.
All
Well, she
Fey
doesn't seem the
people
most
are Disney
Witherbloom
princesses.
students.
You should speak to every living creature. Yeah, no, I think Zero just screams at this rat and then like
Okay, roll me a dex check.
A dex check?
why?
Or dex save. Roll me a dex save, sorry.
Save! Why? Oh my god! I've gone an 11. I'm terrified.
I think you just are so freaked out that you lose not your footing but your winging, and you splash into the waterway, which doesn't really get you away from the rats as some of them are swimming.
They're excellent swimmers.
Wait, no. Is it the shit water? Is it the worm
Yeah.
shit?
But it's
Yeah.
stale. It's not fresh.
The worm goo.
No, it's mostly shit
Okay.
water. Yeah.
Okay. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Cyril lets out a blood curdling scream at being in shitty water with rats around them everywhere. This is their nightmare. This is their Titanic. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to
Titanic,
a
no.
person.
We even got the rats on the Titanic for this scene. So,
That's why they're dressed. Okay? These poor rats somewhere fucking playing string instruments.
I think as all of this, I think as all of this chaos is happening, X is still like trying to find where to shoot their arrow, and like Baru screams. Stag grabs a rat and yells at it, and then Zero screams and falls, and like all of it becomes literally so overwhelming that I think X just like looses their arrow in a direction. They just like shoot it into the darkness. Like as a stressed panic response, they just let go of it. And it fires. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. I just wanted to let you know that it happened.
High or low or medium?
I think X is at the front of the group, so I don't think it's gonna hit any of us necessarily, but if it like lodges like 2 feet into the opposite wall, that might be something that
Sure,
happens
yeah.
because they're stressed and freaked out. That it like cracks the opposite wall cement.
Yeah.
And then like they are panicked. That didn't work. So I think they turn and they kind of get down on an elbow and reach their hand down towards Zero.
Sarah shakily takes X's hand. And as they get to their feet, finally breaking just for a moment with Stag, Sarah's gonna turn to Stag and just yell, "I don't speak rat!" And just like breathing heavy.
But I thought you were a Witherbloom student.
I work with plants, and I don't even speak to those.
Oh. I'm so sorry about the poop water.
It's
here.
It's not okay, but it will be.
Stag sheaths her axe and tucks the rat away into her pack. She's holding on to it. And she unclips her cape. She has like a half cape on and like drapes it over you like a beach towel.
Like Zero like pulls it over their little head. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I would need that back clean, but we can talk about the details later.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that feeling when you fall in the toilet and your boyfriend lends you their hoodie. It's so nice.
So relatable, Vana.
Wow, so relatable.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. Oh my goodness. So the chaos has died in the panic. The rats have all but disappeared, I guess, except for the one Stag is kidnapped.
Yeah, yes, I have a plan for this rat.
Okay. I love this rat plan. Is it to open a restaurant?
Yeah, the finest French cuisine. There's a little bit of crumbs at the bottom of her pack, left over from her rations, so she's gonna hope that the rat will just eat that.
Right.
Did Bogdog respond to the whistle? Just a question.
Oh. He's on your back, so I guess maybe you wouldn't notice, but someone behind you might notice that Bogdog's ears perked up. But he didn't like make to get out of the harness or anything.
Okay.
Still in his baby Bjorn, still strapped in. Good to know. Good to know. X
Lockdown.
is still kind of frantic. That didn't quite work. And frantic, i.e., they're still standing still, but the tip of their tail is flicking back and forth minutely, which is the first time that's ever happened. And they look back now that Sierra has a towel on, and they kind of are confused that went so poorly, like that something happened and we all responded basically in the worst possible way. And they look rather like disgruntled by this fact. Stag, your pack is wiggling.
Oh, yeah, I know. A spat rat is in my pack. It that was unintentional. I have a feeling that this is an answer, right? Someone's got to know how to speak with rats up there. We can interrogate it about what the heck's happening down here. But this is good, everyone. This is really, really good. We finally have some sort of clue about what's happening. There's that whistle. These rats responded. Some of them are dressed in tiny little hats and gloves and vests and whatnot. I bet if we follow where they're going, we'll get what we're looking for.
Yes, if you put your rat on the ground, we can follow it.
Oh, but I don't want to have it leave. Wait. And Stag takes it out like a phone again, but takes like a little bit of rope and tries to fashion a harness and a leash.
We're taking our stat rat for a walk.
I do think, as a side note, I think Zero is still standing by X and is watching all these rats run by. And one of them has like a little hat, and they'll just like look at that X and just say, "You know, that probably fits you."
I said I don't wear hats.
But it would like fit in between your horns.
They kind of like touch the top of their head, like to check to see if they could do that, and they look even more confused than they were like 3 seconds ago. It's like it's getting worse for them.
Yeah, I think
I think
you're
Sarah's
able.
disassociating.
You're able to successfully make a leash and harness for you.
Yes.
Your new rat friend.
Thank
I
you.
think from the rope you have, you can because it's really like a bunch of different threads, right, that make up a rope.
twine.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you can pull out one of those and fashion it out of that. And now you have a rat in spats on a leash. Good job.
Connie is the one player in the world who has made the most out of 50 feet of hempen rope
Yeah.
given to all D&D characters at level 1.
We'd love
We
to see
need an
it.
award. Like, I don't know what
The mileage.
gaming
The
show.
mileage gotten from this rope.
I have 50 feet of it, and I'll use every inch.
I always use
yeah.
the ball bearings that come in the starter pack.
Yeah,
I love
same.
using those.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't want to lose my rat. So gingerly, I'm very gentle with this rat, actually. Even though I hold it like a phone, it's never like around its tender parts, and I place it like onto the ground, and I go, "Come on, show us the way."
The way Stag immediately imprinted on this. I feel so happy inside.
We all thought Bog Dog was going to be the party pet, but
I think we're just collecting
We're
pets.
just collecting them now. So the rat seems a little confused. And it's not really going anywhere. It's maybe turning around and chewing on the rope a little bit, and then it'll try and run in a circle and then move forward a little bit.
I think you broke it.
What? No. What? And did I break it?
No,
Stag
you
looks
didn't
down
break
at this
it.
board,
Oh, God. No.
I think the rat broke it.
Maybe it needs that whistle thing again. They all responded to that, right? Did we see where most of the rats were going? Were they in the water?
Not most. Just some of them were in the water, but most of them were on the two sides of the aqueduct. So just like running over and under your feet, basically, and then hurrying off straight down. But then it forks, and probably the only one who could have seen that far would have been X, and X was not paying attention.
Yeah, I would have been able to see, but I was definitely screaming as well. I have dark
Yeah.
vision, but I was screaming my head off.
Could I try to replicate the whistle?
Sure.
Okay.
Performance?
Yes, hopefully.
Can I help by like scooping up the rat and like holding, like not near, that would be menacing, but like holding it and
I
like
like how you're
looking
like-
between you.
Ciro's reacted poorly to the rats 3 times, and you're like, let me hold this closer.
Let me. My
Whoa.
child.
Why are you blue? What happened?
Why am I blue? What happened to me? The D.
Give it
My
the rats.
throat hurts from how hard I've been laughing the last like 5 minutes. Oh my
Your
god.
lights change, C.
I don't know what happened. Oh,
But you still look good.
There you go.
There we go.
there you go.
Yeah, I want to like try to help by like holding the rat up, not like at you, but like in my huge hands, I guess, and like being like, well, based on how this thing responds, and like try to like help you with rat body language, like as you're trying to mimic it, like pitch it up as the rat's responding, pitch it down as it's not.
Yeah.
Using the rat as a tuning fork.
Please roll with
Yes.
advantage.
Yes.
This is so absurd.
A rat tuning fork. No.
A ratatouille
rat tuning
fork.
fork.
Yeah.
With a little hat.
With a little hat, with little spats.
Okay. I got a 16.
Okay. Yeah. You do a good job of replicating the whistle, and the rat's reaction is to lunge towards you. I'm so sorry. Not in an aggressive way, but in a responsive way.
Okay. Okay.
do we think maybe it like jumps out of Stag's hands and maybe X like because X is right next to you grabs it before it lands on you like out of midair? If that's
As long as
okay.
we spare Zero another.
I just also want the record to be here just doing stuff above the table. Me, Liv, the player, I love little critters. I love rats. Like I'm super okay with this.
Me, Drac, fucking hate rats.
Well, you're wrong.
Hate them. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
But I also hate them. So they suffer for my faults, and I don't care.
Right, understandable. But yeah, I guess Zero like looks at this rat. Okay, so this rat is just trained, it seems like. It doesn't look like it's enchanted. Yes? No?
Do you say
I'm
that
not gonna
loud?
answer that.
Okay.
Is Baru's Detect Magic still on?
Oh, yeah.
No, but I can cast it again. I can either ritual cast it or cast just I have a free spell. I can cast
I'm just more asking because like if I need to roll, I will. But I think Zero's kind of like doing that math and just
You could roll animal handling.
okay, yeah, I'll do that.
As the animal's being handled by X.
X is now also holding it like a phone.
Why is it I want it to be a protein shaker. What's in here? Oh no, Connie, stop.
I'm gonna do a
Are you
different
drinking
roll.
spat rat?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that spatial work.
Foley
Oh my
work.
god. The people on the podcast are gonna be so sad.
I'm gonna roll another die because that one like fumbled off the table and it's just no, it did. Listen,
Listen, just do it.
I rolled a 19. It fumbled off the table.
Okay.
Okay, that is a 14. I got a 13 plus 1. I need Cyril, you, me, and the sheet. We need to do some conversation because this wisdom is not cutting it, baby boo. We really need to figure that out. These stats are ridiculous.
Well, I think with your previous role in mind, like yeah, you can discern that this seems to be the behavior of an animal that is trained.
Okay. So I relay that to the party.
It's also wearing little clothes.
I checked the spats. Do they have embroidery or like initials on them?
You check the spats and there's no initials, but they very much look hand sewn.
Okay, I'm doing a history check. Who the fuck in this fucking school would be making fucking clothes for rats?
Valmoira, I'm calling it right now. For the record, it's on the table. I know it's
Oh, no.
Valmoira.
But I need Janet to say it.
It's not Valmoira. Valmoira didn't even want to leave the common room. Why would she want to go to the sewer? Are you saying
'Cause she's
she's
a
a
nasty
ninja turtle?
girl.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm
I
saying
mean,
she's a
you
nasty
did think
girl.
of this after watching two
I
Ninja
see
Turtle
you,
movies.
Vanna. I'm on to your tricks now.
You cannot think of anyone in your life that makes tiny clothes for rats.
Baru is like koala clinging to the front of Star, and you just hear it whimpering. Maybe if we just walk in the direction that whistle came from, we'll see who or what it came from.
Good idea.
And X hands the rat in clothes on a leash back to Stag tentatively, like out, like that.
Like a phone. Why is everybody holding it like that?
It's like a clock.
That poor rat is being handled.
And then X walks over to where Baru is on star 13, and they go, Baru, are you well?
Yes, and I'll just let slowly climb down and try and fix himself.
X actually like opens their arms up, like kind of like a cat coming down for a tree. Like, oh, do you want to like jump on
I'm used to
me?
roll for this. I don't.
Oh my god, I thought you were asking for a hug.
I think even Barbie would be way too embarrassed to accept that. So I think they climb down like, no, I'm fine. I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm just I'm not much of a rat person. But if we need to find answers, we heard the whistle, we can just walk down in that direction.
I think that's a good idea, considering that there's somebody whistling for lots of little rats to come to them. I am a little concerned about what they might be doing now that they have all the rats.
It's concerning.
Yeah.
It's very concerning.
Maybe if they're involved, or at least saw he was involved with the purple worm. It seems like these rats live down here, and if they're trained, like Ciro said, this person must have been here frequently and might know something.
And as I think X will start walking in the direction that they saw all the rats going, and they pull up next to Stag again, and they take out that piece of leather from the tunnel. Does the leather from the tunnel match the little clothes on the rat? Or is this just a red string theory and you're like, see what the fuck are you talking about?
Give me a investigation check or perception or something.
Can I help?
A 9 on investigation?
Yeah, you can help.
I'm holding the rat's feet up, and I'm like sort of like stroking its fur to keep it calm.
I did not
I love
see this
D&D.
coming.
Ooh, that's better. 21.
With a 21, the materials are not the same, but the hand stitching is almost like a signature, you know, like somebody's handwriting. Like it's sloppy. It's with a color thread that does not match any of the materials that it's used with, and just sort of shoddily put together.
This was made by the same person. They can't sew. Well, at least.
Oh, but that piece of leather looks old. Wait, hold on. So whoever is the Pied Piper of these rats probably has beef with that worm if it ate one of the things that wore its thing. So there might be an ally down there.
I suppose.
Or maybe the worm ate the piece of poorly made clothing that the Pied Piper, so you call them, tried to put on the worm, if this person is so insistent on dressing animals in clothes that they shouldn't be wearing.
Shouldn't is a strong word, X. I agree with Ciro. I think you'd look pretty good in a hat.
I'm talking about the rats. And this is like the most passionate sentence that X has ever said to you. They have reached the end of their rope and they are upset about the ratsicles.
The end of their 50.
They have reached the end of their 50 feet of hempen rope. They don't have any more.
Ciro is internally just trashing the clothing ideas that they had for Bog Dog. It's fine. They don't want to talk about it. But I do think they would like flutter over and get as in this rat's face as they can possibly stand and just like, now listen, you're gonna take us to your master, okay? I whistled and you listened. Take us to your birth. God, I hate you so much. Just take us to where your home is, please. I want to get out of here.
I think the rat like does one of these on its little face, blinks its big pitch black eyes.
Ew. And I just like fly away.
All right then.
think we should just walk that way, and just points like ahead, and just hope we come across something or someone. You can probably check the doors as well. There are a few doors on the side of here that these rats could have crawled into.
That's a good idea. All right. X, you said the ledge was pretty thin, right? So I'm gonna hope it will hold me. And Stag's gonna shuffle forward, tentatively, gingerly, carefully tucking the rat back into her pack. And she's gonna try shuffling toward the area where Baru suggested.
Yeah, you're able to walk fine. It's just like you can't walk shoulder to shoulder next to each other, so it's not at this juncture anyway. So it's like a tightrope situation. But yeah, do you all just do single file?
Yeah.
All right.
I think X would probably be in front because they can see further into the darkness.
True.
Sounds good to me.
Star behind Baru, and Baru would be at the. Unless someone like wants to be at the back, Baru would be at the back with Star.
All right, that makes it a Ciro sandwich. And I imagine you and Jaysha are next to each other, Ciro?
Yup.
You gotta keep the besties together. Okay, so that's your marching order. You are walking down the rungs, essentially, of this waterway. And you walk for quite a while before you get to a fork. And you look to the left, and it's dark. And you look to the right, and it is gently illuminated. And you see, upon further inspection, that it is lit by thousands of candles of different levels of melted that are just lining on the sides. There's some that are stuck to the walls with their own wax. There are alcoves where it's almost like a little shrine of candles. And the first door that you are able to come to, which also looks very shoddily and makeshift put together in one of these alcoves of the sewer, has a gigantic red X on it. And that's where we're going to end today's episode. Loshiel's workshop is a large room. And that's putting it lightly. It is a vacuous space, but it is completely cramped by the countless number of devices, mechanisms, constructs employed to automate as much of this area as possible. Navigating the stacks of historic scrolls and small automatons scurrying underfoot, one can eventually find their way back to Loshiel's desk. Loshiel herself can usually be found lounged behind it, dishing out quipped commands to her army of helpers with words, slight gestures, and even just a dart of her eyes. Baru, when Loshiel spots you, appearing from behind the walls of methodical chaos, she smiles and slowly adjusts her chair into a sitting position. Drac, I would love for you to add a physical characteristic of Loshiel's space that is always when Baru thinks of Loshiel's workshop, this is one of the things that comes to mind.
Yeah. I think at the back of Loshiel's workshop, there's a huge machine. It's been unfinished, and I think every time Baru has asked about it, Loshiel has brushed it off. But it seems like some kind of vehicle, one that there's nothing like it they've seen before, and it's very clearly unfinished. It doesn't have anything that seems to allow it to. It doesn't have any wheels. Doesn't seem to have any doors. It just seems like a chassis of a never before seen vehicle. And it's been, for all the years that I've been allowed to hang around in Professor Loshiel's workshop, it hasn't been touched. It's been cleaned. I always see the bots come and dust it all off and rearrange anything that might have been piled up, because Loshiel themselves are rather lazy and have their bots do everything for them. it's been looked after but never improved or added onto, and it's always there. And every time I walk in, I can't help myself but gaze at it and wonder what was going through Professor Lashiel's head when he started on it, and what went through their head when they stopped working on it.
Yeah, and I think maybe there is a lot of half-finished projects in Lashiel's workshop, but this one commands a spotlight for you for some reason. It has the most intrigue of the history and the reasoning, and why not finish
it seems to
it?
command spotlight, but very clearly they're trying not to give it any spotlight. Like they put it right at the back,
Right.
So it seems counterintuitive.
It almost it almost counteracts the intention. Absolutely. You walk up and your gaze, as always, drifts over to the vehicle in progress. And Lashiel goes, young Barugash, thank you for responding to my summons. I know you're quite swamped with the end of semester grind, so I really appreciate you taking time to see me.
No, anytime to honestly get to stay in your workshop. Seeing that you work on more projects, do you need help with any of these? And like I grab up one construct that's probably like wandering around. Like I can help out with improving this. I already have ideas for this specific bot. Last time I came around, they were trying to, I guess, move some of these objects, but they were it was too heavy for them. And I was looking into some of the essays Tense had written before his passing. And I think if we really take into account Tense's limit of length when it comes to the weave and how to comprehend it, we probably use that to enhance for sort of a changed version of enhanceability for the constructs. It won't be temporary. It only work for maybe 10 to 20 minutes per day, or we could use it to either increase the agility, increase the strength, which is more important for this, and allow it to move stuff like boulders or debris, or honestly just any of the contraptions that have fallen over.
Well, as always, your insights are illuminating. She pushes something haphazardly across her desk and searches around for a pen and jots down some quick notes, but then looks back up at you and goes, but no, that's not why we're meeting today. Perhaps you can come through a different time to help me with such things. But I have a specific topic in mind for today's gathering. And then you see her turn to the side, and she performs the sign language for tea, and a small teapot-shaped construct pops into view out from under like a bunch of pages of scrolls, and then two bionic teacups waddle their way over and slap themselves down on the wooden desk in front of the two of you. And Lashiel leans forward puts her hands together and leans forward, her chin on them, as the tea pours itself, essentially. Tell me, Baru, what are your thoughts on the impending ascension? This is your third year. You could move on from things, but I know we've spoken about you staying on for our advanced program.
Well, everyone seems to be excited about it. I suppose people find it appealing, the idea of godhood, and I suppose it's coming up soon. Is there anything specific you want from me? I haven't really looked into the ascension itself much. I haven't seen how it would pertain to my studies.
And I think as you say that, Lashiel stands up with her tea and takes a sip moving her massive trunk to the side as she finds her lips, and then begins pacing around the desk over to the side that you're on. You know, I don't know if I've ever said this directly, but you are one of my most brilliant students. Current, past, future, probably. And I just think you have so much potential. Beyond the confines of the material plane? What if the access to information was infinite?
I think there's a moment of pause as you can see like Baru trying to, I think you can see it in their eyes, they're trying to like understand what they're implying, and then goes, oh, I mean, I suppose.
Think about it. What is the tenet of a good scientist? Examining every angle possible, right?
Well, yeah.
Asking questions, getting answers, questioning those answers. And who sees the biggest picture out of everyone?
Oh, well, yes, I suppose that is true, but how would I be able to continue my research when I'm there?
Well, you'd have access to powers that you never even considered. The resources would be at your beck and call. You need but ask. You could affect the very shape of the plane of Arcavios. Make a mountain if you want to. Cut through one to see what's inside. There's no rules for people, well, or deities. I can only imagine that the possibilities are limitless. The question you should really be asking is, what couldn't you do for your research?
That is, it's really enticing, but everyone that's ascended hasn't come back.
What do you need to come back for? If you were to ascend, you would have everything that you needed. You could impart your wisdom in gigantic and mysterious ways. You wouldn't need to be here. And she pushes a giant elephantian finger against your forehead in this trivial corporeal form that breaks down and gives out, fades away.
And I think again there's like pause. I understand why people like the idea of that, and I'll never besmirch or talk badly about those people or those ideals. But I personally, thinking about it, I don't see any benefits that outweigh the con. And I'm gonna have to dedicate time that I could be researching and working on different constructs and products, and even stars specifically. And instead of doing that, I'll be preparing for the ascension. It just seems like a loss to me.
Lucio sets down her teacup and leans forward on the desk next to you. We've been doing this a while, right? You and I?
Yeah.
And what is one of the core values that I've taught you? The ebb
Pursuits.
and flow of chance. That there is no risk that isn't worth taking for the possibility of the unknown reward that comes with it. Because it could be anything. It could be your sister.
And I think there's again, there's been a lot of stances, but I think this one was heavier for Baru. I think even snakes kind of react to this. A few of them kind of lull their heads. One of them, I think, glares at Lucio when she says this, and Baru nods. Yeah. If Can I have access to your workshop if I do this?
Of course.
Just so the time isn't wasted preparing.
There's no wasted time. The course you are on is completely overlapped with the course for Ascension. You are breaking new ground. You are discovering new things. You are pushing harder than 99% of your peers. There needs to be no course direct. We're talking about what happens once you're there. Which if you go for this, I have every faith in you that you will get it. The power that can be yours need only be taken by you and not brushed aside and ignored and moved past. Our history is at the crossroads of technology and magic and godhood. To ignore one of those things is to ignore one of the possibilities that could change everything. For you, for her, for all of us. What would you do for your peers, for your family, for the people of Arcavios, if you had the power to do anything?
Baru's looking down at their hands when Professor Lucio is saying this, and I think at some point in this conversation, especially after their sister was brought up, they pulled out the modified sending stone, the one that's like almost diamond crystal clear, and they're tracing the thumb around it, and they just say, "For my family, for my sister, I'll do anything."
I think at this point, she's like swiveled your chair towards her, and she has both of her massive hands on your shoulders, not in a hard way, in a gentle way.
Yeah.
And looking into your eyes, and she's going, in the Blood Age, we used power to conquer, to kill, and now, in this age of enlightenment, we use it to learn and grow, and rapidly. In the course of history, it has been but a stone in a pond, a small ripple in what is the existence of this universe as we know it. Who knows what the next chapter will be? And the next chapter is it here? We are building beyond it. And we need someone capable of writing us into that new chapter. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. Magic and technology, combining the two is the obvious step. Combining those with godhood is the obvious next step.
She gives you a light slap on the shoulder And it's like, I knew you'd be the right choice for this.
Thank you.
I'm putting all my weight behind you, Baru.
I hope I don't disappoint.
You will not. I know it. And that's where we'll end our bonus scene. And let's go back to everybody. Just saw everyone's faces. Let's do outros. Connie, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and the stuff?
It's your favorite rap boy, Connie. Hot rat winter. Connie Chong. You can find me. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me all across the internet at by Connie Chong. BYCONNIECHANG. Twitter, Tumblr, TikTok. Find me there making stuff. When I'm not busy being everyone's most emotionally troubled, hot, handsome, muscular butch woman, Mystigoak Stags Will Graves, right here on Higher Ed. I am the GM and creative producer of Transplanar RPG, which is an transgender, POC-led dark fantasy D&D series set in an original non-colonial anti-Orientalist world where a bunch of sad, angry queers must face the end of the world. So if that's interesting to you, tune in Saturdays. That's today at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. So get your Higher Ed Transplanar double header in tonight, folks, because the grand finale of one of our two parties for Arc 7 is tonight. They're facing off against a gaslight gatekeep girl boss called Lilith in her garden. If that doesn't sell you, I don't know what would. She is hot as hell, and our PCs are not prepared. That's me. I'm going to pass along introductions over to Liv.
Hi, my name's Liv, and I'm here to tell you that Lilith is just my type for real. Oh, she's so bad. Anyway, I am Liv. You can find me online at Live in a Day. We are over on Hive. We are building up Tumblr. If I keep saying it, eventually I have to do it. And I'm also on Twitter until the day comes. But you can also see me here hanging out with everybody on Saturdays, or if you wanted to see me in another Strix game, it's kind of the thing I do. Strix U just had its finale last night, and I'm so excited and so proud to say that I am not the villain. I really thought that I was going to. I truly thought for months now that the entire community was going to turn on me because of what I did in the finale, and then Lexi was like, let me be worse. So, that's it. That is your teaser. Yeah, go watch it. We'll be uploading the finale on YouTube in the next few days. Otherwise, oh god, it's a bunch of finales on Monday. Under the Table is going to have our season finale for season 3, where we've been playing a family in a post-apocalyptic Western world where the sun has been eaten by a snake, and now we are finally doing our finale for that too. So it's just the time. It's just the time for finales. We're finally back in it, and that's what I've got for the most part. Hear my voice over on Super Idols RPG, wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you.
Thank you. C?
Hi, that's me. I'm C. Worm. Hi, my name is C. You can find me making very transparent gay art on the internet. Worm. You can find me Worm. You can find me making very transparent gay art on the internet at PieSharpArt, or you can find me on Hive at C Plays. Will I eventually do a rebrand? C Plays TTRPGs? Maybe. I don't know. But you can find me there on the Hive. That's what it's called. Yeah, I almost forgot. And you can also find me, if you liked what I did here tonight, you'll like what I do other places. You'll be able to find me every other Saturday over on Transplanar RPG. But now that we're almost to Arc 8, which means we're almost to finale, which means we're almost to Endgame, which means you should catch up on our podcast or our written recap document, or tune in on Saturdays, like Connie said. Because boy, you can find me over there on Saturdays at 8 p.m. You can find me here playing X. Earlier on Saturdays, you can also find me on every other Monday over on Exquisite Corpse TTRPG playing Eindride, God of the Lost and Betrayed. You can also find me on Thursdays playing basically the worst person alive, Eden on the Mythic Initiative. They're my little monster. And I'm in a bunch of other things right now. So check out my socials to know where I am at any given time to see what I'm up to. I'll be in a one-shot on Stella's channel on Saturday night next week with Drac as well. I think, yes, that is next week. But otherwise, this has been me today. Drac, now it's you today. 3.
Yes, you
Worm!
reminded me of things. Worm. Hi, I'm Draco Draconics, so you can find me on Twitter at Draconics, that's DRAKONIQES. I'm a teacher, performer, writer, producer, everything that is teacher related. I'm trying to get my grubby little mitts on. You can find me over every other Monday on Exquisite Corpse Presents with C in a very messy game of Divine Intervention, a D&D campaign where we're all gods. I play Kronos, the god of time. You can find me where else am I? Oh, actually no. We had this season finale of Kingmakers on Tuesdays over on Table Story. We'll be coming back on January 10th, but we left off on one hell of a cliffhanger. We ended off with me as the villain of that episode for sure. We did it and we were like, this is the finale, right? This has to be the finale. We need to make this the finale. So yeah, that was fun. So if you want to catch up, follow Table Story on YouTube or watch the VODs on Twitch and catch up on Kingmakers. It's very messy. Today I'm looking at it now, 5 p.m. Pacific, over on _D'Angelo, I'm going to be in a Vampire the Masquerade one-shot with some incredible people like Stella, that D'Angelo, Rockets and Pens, and Oak Katrina. I'm very excited. My character is going to be a mess. And what else? Keep an eye out on my Twitter, Hive, Tumblr, whatever, because I have things prepared to come out on December the 6th. So keep an eye out for that. And that's it from me. Has everyone gone? Vana?
Hi,
Liv?
Vana. Liv went. Yeah. Liv, you want to go again?
Yes.
Too bad.
I'm taking time to say worm.
Worm.
That's it. I hold my peace. Worm.
And I'm Vana.
Yes, Hamna.
I've been
Follow Hamna.
Oh yeah, please follow Hamna. Yes, we got the !cast command in the chat. Go follow everyone's Twitters, and then you can find easily where all else they're gonna pop up. And you want to trust me. If we haven't shown you that during this episode, let me just reassure you. But yes, I've been Vana, and I continue to be, unfortunately. And you can find me here at twitch.tv/Vana, VANA, where I stream full time. And tune back in next month, next week. Y'all, I'm tired. We're taking a month off. Tune in next week, Saturday, 3 p.m. ET for episode 4. You can catch up on our previous episodes in the VODs here on Twitch, over on YouTube, over on anywhere you get your podcasts, except the Google store for some reason will not have us. And we're gonna go rate a friend. Just drop some good vibes and hearts and hypes in the chat. And it's their birthday, so give them money. And we will see y'all next time.